with the pure consciousness. Never forget that.
That's right. I think we
Whatever,
need more doctors with pure consciousness.
whatever is changing, only the doctors can take a limited care of what is changing. They cannot create a heart or a lung or a liver, but yes, they can transplant other livers and other hearts. So they
Yes.
have a half knowledge. They
Yes.
don't have a full
Uh,
knowledge of it.
5 years ago, I had a wonderful doctor. He gave me a whole hour. He was in Washington Crossing.
Yeah, that is what happens because when a doctor gives you 1 hour, then he has to see the causes of our problem from all the angles. And that all the angles means the body, the breath, emotions.
Yeah,
Huh?
but it was a private foundation, I think. He had
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
a.
So that is why it happens. One thing is very clear. If we examine our suffering, that suffering, if we blame that suffering is caused by the world outside, the outer situation, people, relationship, it means that the outer situation contains that suffering and that they have given the suffering to me. But it is not possible. You know what happens? I normally tell, last week I was telling this diabetics. I said, in your childhood, the sugar was very sweet, but now you are a diabetic, so sugar is a poison. But the sugar is the same. My perception has changed because I liked it, so I was eating. It was giving me a sweetness. Now the same sweetness is a poison for me. So it means it has more to do with the mind. My emotional dependence on the sugar caused me the problem. So what we normally understand, if we closely look at the word, sometimes we blame our relations, situation, and conditions outside. But the fact remains that no one else is responsible for my sorrow, and no one is responsible for my happiness. My happiness and the sorrow or suffering is based on my projection. And who is projecting? My mind. Why he is projecting? That is where we say it is due to the ignorance. So the ignorance causes the delusion. First, ignorance causes the attachment, likes and dislikes. And then, then it results into a kind of delusion. Delusion means what appears true is not true. And we live in that state of delusion all the time with the strong preferences of likes and dislikes. So, our masters, the science basically looks with the two factors. This is right and this is not right. But we see our understanding and receiving the knowledge based on three factors. What is true? Yes, we follow it. What is untrue? That is also okay based on the science. We add the third factor. What is false? So real, false, and unreal. So we already know real equates with the science, unreal equates with the science. So what to do about the false? The false exists in between the real and unreal. So what is that false? What do you mean by it? It exists between the real and the unreal. From a distance, we see the mirage water, but when we go close to the mirage water, it disappears. So that is why it is in between the real and the unreal. So real too far and too near. So when we go near to it, we understand the fact. Going near means that we want to know what is the fact, whether it exists. Now see, the earth is stationary. Earth, when I look at the ground, it appears to me it is totally stationary. But the earth is constantly moving. That causes the delusion. What appears real but it is not real, it is unreal, causes the delusion in our life. So add this to the entire whatever is visible in the world. The body is visible in the world. The body constantly changes. 65 years ago, this body did not exist. Now it is existing. It appears real. After a few years, it will it will not be real. So, what our master says that we should have a very clear perception. Remove that delusion. What is that delusion? I am the body, so the body should live forever. This is the delusion. But another point that this body, when we are understanding through the intellect, we understand that I am not the body. But when there is a pain, I say I am the body. Body is a machine. So our master says that can we separate ourselves inside the head from the body, breath, mind, intellect, plus I thought that is the personality, that is what we know as an individual. Individual is equal to. Individual means unit. A unit is made up of parts. What are those parts? I thought, plus body, breath, mind, intellect. Thoughts, feelings, sensation, emotions, attachment, detachment, all comes. That is an individual. So that individual exists because of the I thought. Is there an I thought in deep sleep? No. So I as an individual does not exist. In dream, no, I do not exist. Only it exists in the waking state because in the waking state the mind is acting, so it uses I thought. Have you have you ever observed or understood that the body that is jumping all around and walking in dream is the dream body? In the dream we are aware this body is lying down on the bed and the second body is virtual body is moving everywhere. We all have the same experience. That makes us aware that we are not the body, we are not the breath, we are not the mind, we are not the intellect. They go together. The I thought wants support from the physical body, the mind, breath, intellect. Then only we think that we are an individual. So we were talking about the delusion. That delusion causes the suffering. The suffering neither exists in the world outside, nor it exists in the body, mind, breath, intellect. How come you say, I am suffering? Mind instantly says, body is not made up of suffering, because if it is made up of the suffering, then it will not search for calmness and peace. Are you getting it? Not very deep, but so simple. I am, that I in me is always searching for peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. It is not from today. Our search is since our birth, unconsciously. When we were born, we were in the lap of our mom, we started crying, so we were searching, Mom, food, so that I'll be in peace. Unconscious search. We wet the bed. Mom started crying. What it proves? It proves that internally something inside is constantly searching for peace and happiness. Why it is searching? It has an urge for peace and happiness. What is that urge? I'm not going into the science says there is a biological urge to evolve. What is that urge? What is that urge? From where it comes? From the consciousness. The consciousness is looking for peace and happiness. The other living species do not have a language to express themselves, but still they are searching for the peace and happiness, because the consciousness also manifests there. So our master says that when we understand this clearly, then we realize that suffering do not exist inside me. I am not made of suffering. The world is not made of suffering. Then still I experience the suffering. If the mouse is not working, then my mind says I hate the mouse and I throw it, as if the mouse has caused me the suffering. But mouse does not contain the suffering. It's a mechanical device. It is inert. It is matter. But I have projected my thought on the mouse. A person or a relations comes to you and starts fighting with you, but you ask him or her that why you are fighting with me. You did not give the money, but why you are fighting for the money? What you will do with the money? Because I will buy something. But what will happen if you buy something? Because if I buy something, I use it, I'll be in peace and happiness. So ultimate result is peace and happiness. You find out anything. You follow the sequence, you follow the reasoning, and ultimately you find the person is fighting with me because of the peace and happiness, but he does not know it. That is the problem. So the master says that is why you are learning Eastern wisdom. Now you know it. That you cannot get peace and happiness by fighting, by entering into a conflict, by entering into a duality, by hating somebody, by blaming somebody. Because when I blame and complain and hate, I got disturbed first. That I don't realize. This young guy told me that I gave this girl 200%. I said, who told you to give 200%? You don't give me even 50%. And first time you met the girl and you have given 200%. And then after a few weeks, the girl stopped talking to him. He got upset and he is frustrated. I asked him that where your frustration is living. Can you tell me? Are you a guy full of frustration? Or is the girl made up of frustration or a reaction? No, that's why you gave 200%. But why you gave 200%? Did the girl tell you that you should give me 200%? No. So what is this 200%? It is emotional dependence because you were expecting peace and happiness from her. You were expecting love from her. That is the delusion. The delusion always causes this suffering. So he asked me that it means that we should not love anyone. I said no. We should love everyone. We should not be emotionally dependent on anyone. You say emotional dependence is love. It is not love. Emotional dependence is attachment. You're taking care of Philip. That's wonderful. It is out of love. You have no expectation. You should be doing it. No issue. Through the reasoning, you have thought of it, you realized what should be done, and you are doing it. So you are caring, you are sharing what you have. Yes, we should all. So in love, we do not depend on others. In attachment, we have a sense of emotional dependence. And emotional dependence, because that I have given you 200%, at least you should give me another 50%. Then after a few weeks, she said, I will introduce to you my new girlfriend. They came for dinner. I said, if you are finding new girlfriend every time you are frustrated, you are searching for someone for whom you should have an emotional dependence. And every time you will be frustrated. So that frustration, that suffering, that anger, that hesitation neither lives in your mind nor lives in that girl, but it lives in the delusion. And that delusion is caused by that delusion is caused by the false. Eastern wisdom says real, false, unreal. The false exists in between the real and unreal. The false simply means what appears real is not real. It is unreal. I told you, mirage water. You approach mirage water disappears. Yeah, it's so simple an example. You are driving your car on a highway. You see the highway is moving behind you. We see it through my sense organs in the mind. Don't you see it? We see that the trees are moving behind me. If we say that, seeing is believing, so believe that the trees are moving behind you. Believe it? So there we say, no, no, it's not moving. So once we have clearly understood that what exactly is false, so false has many characteristics. The first characteristic that whatever is changing is false. Body is changing? Yes, I am not the body. Mind is changing? Yes, I am not the mind. Breath is changing? Yes, I am not the breath. Intellect? Yes. Ego is changing? Yes, I am none of them. What is left? Who supports all of them? I cannot be conscious without I am conscious because of that consciousness. Body is moving because of that consciousness. The breath is conscious because of that consciousness. Mind is conscious because of that consciousness. You remove the consciousness first. Body is known as the dead body. Now, the consciousness is present, but the mind is not working at all. The mind does not know anything. What is that state? You have two different states. Either we are in coma or we are in deep sleep. But the consciousness is still there. Do you see that? Do you see the understanding? We are the real self. We are the pure consciousness. That consciousness does not go anywhere. It does not change. It is all pervading. Because of the delusion, my friend, because of the delusion, we say we are two individuals. Are you conscious? Yes. I am conscious? Yes. So it means, are there two consciousnesses? Or the consciousness is only one? Thanks to the English language, we don't have a plural word for the consciousnesses in English language. We have only the singular. Both represents this. We are same consciousness. We are one consciousness. So if I stand at the physical level and look at you, then I am different than you. And the moment I feel that I am different than you, the mind bombards with all the opposing factors, our gender, our age, our nationality, our color, because we started with the delusion. That is the beauty of this journey of Eastern wisdom. So when I awaken to one consciousness with the apparent reality, what is the apparent reality? Yes, I will recognize you as Anne, you will recognize me as a Girish, color, gender, age, etc., all the things. But at the same time, I recognize at the root, at the center, we are of the nature of consciousness. We are consciousness. That consciousness is the real soul. When we recognize, retain, realize it, that is what is known as awakening. Don't think awakening is living in the heaven, because the heaven does not exist. Even if I go to the hell, I have to be conscious. Whether I go to heaven or hell, who will recognize if I am not conscious? So the consciousness is the reality, not hell and heaven. that is the beauty of understanding and revealing this knowledge. Close your eyes. Let us. Eyes are closed. We are. We are. We are being comfortable, my friends. Being again. We are. So when I say comfort, that comfort is natural to consciousness. Consciousness doesn't never becomes uncomfortable. So we are recognizing the comfort in us. We are not doing a practice. And how we recognize, that is the step. Look at the neck joint mentally. You are looking at the mentally. What it means? Mind is approaching near. So if you approach to the mirage water, then what happens? The mirage water disappears. So when you are approaching near, the identity with the body dissolves. We become objective. Body is objective, and I'm separate from that. So that brings what? That brings experience of sensation, comfort, and stillness. Not only we are understanding, but we are also doing the practice. And this is not a practice because we are not doing anything active. Very good. So, what happens when we, I normally say, and every master says that you move the mind within. So, that moving the mind within is nothing but the rise in awareness. What is rise in awareness? We approach near to the knowledge and the fact. If I say, look at the shoulder joint, awareness, and move the mind within and experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness, that moving the mind within means you're not moving inside the shoulder joint to look at the bone and flesh and the blood and the enzymes. And no, you're looking, you're rising in awareness. That is the meaning I said mind is approaching near to remove that delusion, my friend. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. The entire body, you are aware. So, your next level of awareness is sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and that is the meaning of moving the mind. It is not physically moving the mind, physically moving. It is not that you are outside the home and you are moving inside the home. But the language is limited to express that consciousness. The entire body, we experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Very good. And now comes being carefree. So what I said, the thoughts are coming and going. What they are unwanted and unwelcome thoughts. Unwelcome thoughts. So when you peep through the window, you see lot of people coming and going. We see sometimes. The same way, if we treat all the thoughts as if they are coming and going, it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. Means what? We find separation. We find a separation from the thoughts. Thoughts are objects. I am an observer. That knowledge changes my experience. You see how simple it is. So we are comfortable and we are carefree for the sake of understanding. For the sake of understanding, we are so if I introduce another, you have been progressing. So if I say, can I introduce endurance? What is endurance? Here, it is not a practice that you need to push yourself. No. Endurance in the mind. What is that in the mind? That the thoughts will continue its journey. You should not get carried away. You should not get carried away by any thought. What does it mean by being carried away? So, being carried away means you are attached. Like the young guy who told me I gave 200% to the girl. Who told you? So I gave 200% to a thought. Why I gave 200%? I identify with it. So we have to remain aware and attentive not to get carried away by any thought, feeling. Why? Whereas water. Again, I'm giving an answer. Now, we want to rise above. We want means we want, I want to live in a higher awareness. What do you mean by higher awareness? When I am aware that body, breath, mind, intellect, and I thought is not me, I live into that awareness. So, how to live in that awareness? Just be breath awareness. You start looking at breath. So, you are looking at the breath. So, when you look at the breath, you see moving breath. Pay attention to the moving breath. Moving breath, no change. No, why I say no change? Because if the mind changes the breath rate, means what? The mind wants to create an I thought. Create an I thought. And once the I thought is created, then we return to the same old habit, impulses that has been missing in you, and that is why you are finding the change. I would say a few months ago, many months ago, your mind was claiming and blaming that I still have the anxiety. For the last couple of months, I didn't hear. You never said. You always said. Your experience sharing in the group was also that you are in calmness and peace. Going back, you are looking at the breath. The breath is moving. So when you observe the breath is moving, you are not changing the breath. It is a natural process. Yes, moving in the body and out of the body, that too is okay. Where the breath is moving, if there is no space, so in the space it is moving. And when the breath goes in or out, you simply drop Shanto Hum. What is the meaning of the Shanto Hum? I'm the peace. Okay? Peace is like the space. As the mind has been tricking us, inviting unwanted, unwelcome thoughts, we can trick the mind. What do you mean? You may ask, it simply means when the breath goes in, you drop Shanto Hum. Just after that, there is a pause. There is a pause, interval, and then the breath returns and moves out. You drop Shanto Hum. So, what I'm saying, you see the space? Yes. Breath is in? Yes. You drop Shanto Hum? Yes. Then there is a space or interval. Yes. And then again, breath returns. Yes. You say Shanto hum. So you become aware of the space between the breath and also between the two Shanto hum. That space is not broken. That space is one. And that space is awareness, and that awareness is consciousness. You are already, the moment you approach near, the delusion drops and dissolves. It results into the of discovery of peace. Normally, our perception about the word discovery means what? Oh, we find something new. But if you go into the literal meaning is dis plus cover. Oh, what is this dis plus cover? You uncover the real self covered by delusion. That is what the self discovery is. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Today our practice knowledge was 80%, 20% was the practice.